Gonna do 2-1. TJ Watt signing and Dame back in Portland. What is that all about? Now we're gonna start off with TJ Watt, and this is obviously the list of highest paid non QBs in NFL history. And TJ Watt now takes the reign over Jamar Chase, which is very interesting because we have a Jamar Chase fan right here. As you guys know, we have a Bengal fan here, David. Now I want to start with you with this, David. This
Sure.
guy, TJ, is in your division, and he's arguably, I think, the best. I don't know. Him and Myles Garrett are neck and neck, but TJ, you can put him at 1A or 1B. He's the best defender in the league on any given week. Okay, but you have Jamar Chase right there behind him, and Myles Garrett there behind him, and you obviously see the rest of these guys here as well. What is your thoughts on this? And do you think he deserves it over Jamar Chase?
Well, I just want to say, first of all, and I admit this is a bit of a biased take, but I personally think Trey Hendrickson is the best edge right now. Yeah, he had 17 and a half sacks. He led the league in sacks, and he was third in pressures despite not having a competent edge on the other side. So I think you got to throw his name. I definitely think he's better than Garrett right now. If you want to say Watt's better, I respect that, but I love this. I mean, I hate it for our division, but I am a huge respecter of TJ Watt, man. I mean, everyone thought that he was going to lose a step after that big injury in 2021, came back next year, had 11 and a half sacks, I believe, despite only playing like 13, 14 games. His quick first step, his first move is like, you wouldn't think somebody that big should be able to move like he moves, but I just think I was looking at the Bleacher Report article, and I think it's like, I mean, obviously this is a guy you have to pay, but
Absolutely.
he hasn't won a playoff game yet, and that's like so crazy to me. Like, he's like, my ultimate goal is to win a playoff game. I was like, damn, they've had you sent for what? Well, since like 2018, 2017, and they still haven't won a playoff game.
It's just like his brother, man. JJ
I
didn't
think
win one
that
for
says more
years.
about the Steelers than it does about him, though.
I agree.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think this, like, we already saw the edge market get completely reset this year with the Myles Garrett, the Max Crosby deals. Nick Bosa kind of was a benchmark for that. I believe that was last year. So I'm not surprised at all about this. But I mean, it's a front-loaded contract as well. Like, the least amount of guarantees are in the final year of the deal. So I think the Steelers not only obviously established the core piece of their defense for the next couple of years, but also did a good job of protecting themselves if he gets hurt again. So I mean, this is a no-brainer, and I hate it, but it's exactly what they needed to do.
Trust me, man. I felt the same way when they signed Max Crosby to that deal. I hated it so much. But go ahead, Chris. I want to hear your thoughts on how do you feel about this TJ Watt signing, and do you think he deserves it over all these guys?
I also hate it for a different reason, because I wanted him to get traded to us because I'm delusional in
Packer
Green
fan,
Bay.
by the way.
You know, yeah, reunion, of course. The one Packer fan out of the three of us, which, but I think if Pittsburgh wanted to maintain any semblance of a contention window where they're still winning games, making the playoffs, because you never know what can happen in a one-off. This is exactly what they needed to do, and front-loaded contracts are the best way to do it, because you don't know what's going to happen when someone signs a massive deal. If you can get most of the guaranteed money out of the way right away, it's definitely the right way to do it.
Now, I want to talk about TJ Watt for a second because I have a great story about this guy. So when I was in 5th grade, a little bit of history lesson here. I was 5th grade. I moved out here to Pewaukee, Wisconsin, and that is exactly where TJ Watt was when he was a senior in high school. I was in 5th grade, and he came to our classroom, talked to us about nonsense. It was about life or whatever. We didn't care. We were in 5th grade. Great guy, great man. I met JJ more than I met him because of football, and JJ was older and had nothing to prove, so he just kept coming back after we would win some games and make the playoffs and stuff, give us some speeches. Now, when I look at film on JJ and TJ, obviously Derek's a fullback, so he doesn't really count in this situation, but TJ and JJ, their film, they play very similar, but TJ's a little bit faster. JJ's just way stronger than him. JJ Watt made $123.5 million in his career for his career earnings. And TJ just signed what, 170 something mil for 3 years or something like that.
I think it was 3 years,
123
$30 million. Yeah. 100, yeah.
So yeah, sorry, over
He
driven.
made the exact same amount that JJ made his whole career in one contract.
Right.
I think that says more about the inflation of contracts and the players themselves, because JJ was an absolute beast.
Right. So I'm not saying
top defensive player as well.
I'm not saying that TJ doesn't deserve it, but wow, it's a lot of money, especially for the Steelers to spend on someone that they never won a playoff game with, like you said. And I love TJ Watt. I think he's probably my favorite defender next to Myles Garrett in the league right now, and Khalil Mack. But I just think I think it's a little bit pushing it. I think they could have got him down to maybe just 40 mil. I think, or 40.2 or something like that, like Jamar. But I don't know, man. Maybe something a little less, in my opinion, just to save a little bit of cap room, because you're gonna need it. I mean, this team is pretty old right now. I'm pretty sure. I think they're one of the old. I think they are the oldest team in the league currently, and especially defensively, I should say. I know that for a fact. But yeah,
not to mention their 40-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, and the GOAT Aaron Rodgers is on their team.
Cam Hayward's not that far, but Hayward's like 37. Highsmith's getting up there.
Man. I mean, it's just, and what they just got rid of Minka, got Jalen Ramsey, who's what, 30 something.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, but I just think we gotta do a better job at negotiating these, because the team's gonna suffer eventually. I mean, kudos to TJ. I mean, him and his agent took him a while to get it. That's the thing about NFL too. It takes so long for deals to happen in the NFL, like compared to the NBA, because yards and stuff, all that stuff. The stats in NFL is just a little bit more. I feel like they're deeper than the NBA, and it's a little bit harder to pinpoint where you're going to pay these guys because of all those crazy stats that pop up. So, I mean, kudos to TJ, and I think that he's well deserved. But I want to ask you guys these questions too. Out of all of these guys on this list that are listed right here for the highest paid non-QBs in NFL history, this include TJ and Jamar Chase. Which guy on this list think you guys think that deserves it the most, or maybe even deserves more?
Instantly, Justin Jefferson just pops out to me. I think you're talking like about like compared to the NBA. It's so funny when you compare NBA and NFL contracts. Justin Jefferson is making Jordan Poole money.
Unbelievable.
That's wild.
He has the exact same contract as my boy, light skin legend, but I just think that's so funny to think about, just like the difference between NBA and NFL salary caps. But yeah, I mean, especially when you consider that Jefferson wasn't even like a surefire wide receiver one when he came out of college. Like, he wasn't even the first receiver drafted. I mean, I feel like there's not even much more that needs to be said about it. I mean, it's Justin Jefferson.
I mean, Jalen Reagor was drafted before him.
Jalen Reagor at TCU, yeah, a pick before.
Well, how much do you think JJ should make?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that the salary cap situation is different. I just think it's funny comparatively to look at if you're comparing the sports. But I don't know if they can honestly afford to pay him right now, because this is a time for the Vikings where they are in a very interesting position because their quarterback's really cheap. All the weapons around Jefferson outside of Hawkinson are relatively cheap as well. So all of that money needs to be spent into improving the secondary. They had one of the worst secondaries in the league last year, and trying to make McCarthy's situation as good as possible. But I mean, I definitely think Jefferson deserves to be paid similarly to Jamar.
Chris, go ahead.
I think CD is right on the same level with those two pretty much too. So I think it's definitely those guys, and maybe Max Crosby. I think Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, and TJ Watt are the undisputed top three best defensive players in the league. Daniel Hunter is another really good DN too, but I think Crosby is at least a little bit better than he is. I think a lot of this just comes down to when they sign the contract, because every year we break the record for the highest blank ever, like the highest wide receiver ever, the highest defensive player ever. It keeps breaking over and over and over. So you can't even really say that these guys are underpaid. It's just they're resetting the market for when their time is up.
Yeah, see, I agree with you, Chris. Man, I'm telling you, man, I would put in terms of defensive players, I would you call me biased, but I'd put Hendrickson above anyone on this list except for probably Watt.
Anyone.
Like, any defensive player, yeah. I mean, he just let
even Bosa. You put him over Bosa and Crosby.
Right now, yes. I'm not saying like we'll see if he's able to repeat it, but I mean, we had 3 different guys lining up on the other side of the edge, and he was still able to be top 3 in quarterback pressures and lead the league in sacks with basically no other defensive help, not in the front 7 or on the edge. Like
I completely agree with you. You know, I completely agree that he deserves a huge contract. It's just the fact that Max Crosby is doing this on such a bad team, dude. And
Malcolm Kuntz is
super
rated.
No, I agree. It's just the fact that like he's been on the Raiders his entire career, and like, but Hendrickson was on that Super Bowl team, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself like, okay, if I'm thinking about situational stuff, okay,
right.
Max Crosby is on the Las Vegas, used to be Oakland Raiders, and they have never been good while he's there. Besides maybe 1 year with
there was Carr. 1 year where they were passable.
Yeah, they were second in the division, the AFC West, and they beat the Chargers out for a playoff spot. That's the only year they barely made it. And they barely made it. So they've never really been that great while he's on that team. And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, Max Crosby, I think he's like 40 mil level, in my opinion. I don't 38 maybe.
Yeah.
38 at the least. Okay. Now Nick Bosa, I think that's perfect for him because he's been on this stack team his entire career. So he's had
he's injured all the time.
Right, that too. He has way more leeway because that D line was unbelievable at one point. It was Greenlaw and
shut up time for him this year though. The 49ers have lost a lot of talent the last couple of years.
This is the year of him to really prove that contract was worth it, in my opinion. Nick Bosa, we're talking about, but I don't know if I could put Hendrickson above Max Crosby. Everybody else, Danielle Hunter, I don't think Danielle Hunter deserves that much personally. Nick Bosa,
Danielle Hunter's really only had one like really, really good year, but I'm embracing myself because I do think we probably extend him, but he's probably gonna be in between Garrett and Hunter in terms of what he gets. And
you guys talking about Hendrickson?
Yeah, he's and if it's not from us, it's gonna be from somewhere else. But he's definitely gonna get probably around like 37 to 40 million. He said before that he's not looking to reset the market, but I mean that's what a lot of guys say, and then they end up resetting the market.
I mean, do you guys have the money too? That's my last question for you, real quick.
We definitely have the money. We have 30. We have I believe we have 39 in cap. So we
spending.
Really?
I think it is. Okay. I mean, if we don't, I mean, we have a couple of young guys. One of them still hasn't signed his contract, but I mean, I'm a big Miles Murphy guy. I was huge on him out of Clemson. We took him the first round 2 years ago. He was former top 5 recruit. I like him a lot, and I mean, if we can sign Shamar Stewart, this might sound like a crazy take, but like statistically by like RAS and Combine, it is true. He's the most athletic edge rusher of all time. Like he has like literally the best Combine stats, the best RAS score. He is the most physically gifted edge rusher ever in terms of like it's like saying Anthony Richardson's the most athletic quarterback of all time. It sounds weird, but then like you look at this like everything and like the measurements and everything, but like but like he's barely any college production. And he hasn't even signed yet. So if we don't re-sign him, then there's going to be hell to pay because we're going to have the worst defensive line in the league. Like, I think by a good margin, too.
Now, Chris, this is my last question to you. You said that you wanted TJ Watt to come to the Packers.
No, he said Crosby, I'm pretty sure, right?
Was it Crosby or
any of them? Any of the options. Honestly, I would probably want Crosby more just because of the cheaper contract.
I thought that he was going to get traded to the Packers.
And he's a little younger, too.
Yeah, he's young and he's gifted. I don't know how he does it, but he's just unreal. But him on the Packers, it was a big thing last year before the trade deadline. I was thinking either him, Max Crosby to the Lions or the Packers, one of them, because they were pushing for him. I heard that they were pushing for him. I know the Lions were for sure, but the Packers, I would assume that they were trying to push for him when the Raiders kind of put it out there that he was on the trade market because they were kind of in hell still. But yeah, but like that's our show me the money section for TJ Watt. Now we're gonna move on to real quick.
Before we move on really quick,
Go
I
ahead.
want to say that I never really saw Goody, our GM, ever making a move like that, just
Of course
because
not.
he's another one of those guys that kind of moves in silence, like
Yeah.
how John Horst does with the
That's
Bucks,
true.
where it's
That's true.
just it pops out of nowhere. Like I had no idea that we were signing Josh Jacobs last year, and all of a sudden, poof, here he is,
He's
or
good at that.
Xavier McKinney. However, he doesn't take, like, in trades at least, he's never really taken a big swing per se like that. That's not really his style. He likes to build through the draft and free agency, not through trades. So
That's kind of how Horst is too. I feel like. Well, no, Horst is more free agency. than
Horst
draft.
loves free agency and trades, and I
Yeah.
guess we'll get into that a little bit more with our next segment.
Now this is interesting, fellas. Damian Lillard back to Portland. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was cap. I didn't think it was true. I didn't think he would go back to Portland. I didn't see any reason for him to go back. I thought he was going to go to Miami or the Celtics even, as they were pushing for him to come there and be a contender when Tatum and him comes back from their respective Achilles injuries. Now, what is the Trailblazers kind of got off if you think about it. They traded Damian Lillard to get assets, get trades, or get picks and get other players, younger players, just to get him back 2 years later, 3 years later, with all of the young assets surrounding him, including Scoot. They got Denny Advia. They got
Shade and Sharp, I really like.
Sharp. They got they now
Klingon, Hansen Yang.
Hansen Yang. They have all these. They still have
really nice.
Milwaukee's picks. So like, this is
which
big
could
news.
be very valuable in a few years.
Right.
It's crazy too, because like I was pissed when they first traded him, because in my opinion, and I know this probably isn't a crazy thing to say, but I think they probably traded Dame too late. I think they probably should have traded him like a year and a half, 2 years before they did.
A little year before. It would have been way better.
I remember because they had Norman Powell,
Yep.
and when they traded Norman Powell, they traded like Gary Trent Jr. and a first-round pick and everything like that, and then they traded him to the Clippers and got – I don't even remember who they got. They got like Keon Johnson and like a couple G Leaguers and stuff, and I was like, this is like a complete mismanagement of assets, because if you to trade a first-round pick and Gary Trent for a guy that you move a year and a half later for basically nothing because you wanted to try to put a more competitive team around Dame – is just bad management. So, I mean, when I see, I mean, it's like the young core they have now is great, but I'm just thinking what it would be like if they would have gotten like 2 or 3 more first-round picks if they would have traded him in like 2023. Or I'm sorry, 2022.
What I'm surprised about is that Miami never made a move for him, because those two, like Miami and Dame, always kind of seem like the likely destination. And there was just a report that came out like within the last, since we started, that Dame was actually, he didn't want to go to Milwaukee to begin with. And he was very reluctant to come here. It took some convincing by his agent. So I'm not really surprised by that. And I think just him going somewhere else, it sucks that it didn't work out with the Bucks. The Blazers are in a really good spot moving forward. The problem is they're in the West. So I don't really know how much after this year he's going to help them besides being like a veteran presence. He's still going to be a good player most likely, but I don't really see how much this really helps them in the context of the standings. And the first thought I had was just good for him, because he gets to be home again, be with his kids, which is really the most important thing.
Now, Blazers.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's basically a 1-year contract, because you think he's going to miss the first year. Then you got the second year. Third year's it's a player option. So depending on if he opts into that or not, it's basically a guaranteed 1-year deal. And I mean, it's a really good move for the city and everything. Obviously, he's a franchise legend, probably. I'd have to look at the list of Trailblazers, but he's definitely one of the greatest Trailblazers ever. But it feels like more of like a feel good thing more than anything right now. Chris, you were asking why you're talking about the Miami thing. Joe Cronin probably made that almost impossible. That's the Blazers GM. They originally wanted Tyler Hero and a bunch of other assets. But I remember when Pat Riley and them were originally trying to facilitate that trade. That whole saga where Dame was like, he requested a trade and he said he only wanted to go to Miami. Joe Cronin came out and said that we are not trading you to Miami unless we're like blown away by the offer and everything like that. And apparently they wanted like Bam. He asked for Bam or some like crazy stuff like that. So I don't know if that would have happened regardless, but Portland's front office kind of made that impossible to get the Miami move done.
When Miami is so tough too, because like they value their young players so much.
Yeah.
We saw that in the Kevin. I thought that they should have also made the Kevin Durant move this
No,
year, just
that
because.
That one was crazy. Yeah.
Because
Nikola Jovic and like Haywood Highsmith.
I don't know what
and
they were thinking. Why
all
were
those, they're like,
the
these
East
guys
is
are
so
untouchable.
wide open this year. I don't know. They could have made that move, and it would have catapulted them way up the standings in the East with that big three that they would have had.
Yeah,
but
no East competition really compared to last year and the year
Right.
before, especially. I mean,
The only guys I'm not trading if I'm Miami are Bam Adebayo and Khalil Ware. I think those are the only two untouchable guys. I mean,
your trade hero?
for Kevin Durant, probably. I mean,
I don't know if they would have had to at this stage. I think they could have gotten away with trading some of those other younger guys, but they didn't.
They
didn't.
probably could have done like Rozier, a couple picks, and then a combination of Highsmith, Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, and been able to not trade Hero. But they have these mid-ass role players that they think are untouchable and everything. Like, I've been waiting for Nikola Jovic to break out for like the past like 3 seasons and everything. The Kevin Durant move pissed me off way more than the Dame one did, because I feel like that was very, very possible, and he would have fit so well next to Bam as well.
Oh yeah, they would have been very good together.
They're another one of those teams, Miami is. Sorry that we're getting off topic, but they're kind of in basketball purgatory right now. I don't really know what they're trying to do. Like, are they trying to win? Are they trying to tank? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, they have win now guys like Hero and Bam on their roster, but then they also have these young developing guys like Khalil Ware, like you said, David.
I love
And,
Khalil Ware. I think
really
he's
just
really
they're
good.
just not.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
They're not good enough, and they're one of those teams in the East where it kind of feels like they don't have a direction right now, and I just don't know what they're trying. Like them, the Bull. We always make the jokes about like the Hawks, the Bulls, and the Heat always being the
Playing
three playing
Warriors,
teams.
baby.
I gotta give the Hawks credit because they finally made some moves.
Oh, they had a fantastic offseason.
They made some moves, and I think they're gonna vault up the standings. It's Miami and Chicago that I think are just really staying put. And
Been saying this for years, man. Like David just said.
I'll say this about Miami though. I love the Norman Powell trade. They basically got Norman Powell for nothing.
Yeah,
they basically got Norman Powell for nothing. And on paper, a lot of stuff has to go right, but on paper, Davion Mitchell, super underrated, one of the best defensive guards in the East right now. Mitchell, Hero, Andrew Wiggins, Bam, and Khalil Ware. I'm sorry, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, and Bam Adebayo. That's a good starting five. And if some of the bench pieces, like if Jaquez and Ware take another step, then I can see them being maybe like a 6 or 7 seed in the East with how weak it looks.
Now, real quick.
Apparently, they're not trading Wiggins, so.
Real quick. With Dame back on the Blazers, we got Drew Holiday as a 6-man likely.
Bring him back.
If Dame is healthy next year, it'll probably the starting lineup is probably still going to be Scoot in it with Shaedon Sharpe and Advia and Kamara and Klingon. That's probably their starting lineup.
Yeah.
But with the depth now, like with Dame back and Holiday and what other bench pieces do they have? That's pretty good.
Chris Murray, Jan Hansen. They still
they got Hansen now.
I'm not sure.
Robert Williams.
Where do you see them this upcoming season? In 2 years, they're going to be very good, I think. But this upcoming year, with how difficult the East is, or the West is, excuse me, where do you see them landing? Do you see them? I know, David, you see them as a playing team, but I find that hard to believe. But I just want your guys' opinion. Chris, I'll start with you real quick. Where do you think that the Blazers will be by the end of this year?
When I think about this, I have to think about the teams that are definitively worse than them. And I can really only think of like maybe 2 or 3 in the entire conference that I can say that with. I think the Pelicans are probably still worse than them.
No.
I don't really think there's a debate with the I said probably. We don't know how that team's gonna.
Pelicans are
The thing
just
is,
a wild card, like because of their health.
yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I think the Jazz are definitively worse than them. I don't really think there's much of a
Sorry,
debate
Jalen.
around that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Jalen. But
Spurs.
I think the Kings could be worse than them.
Kings will be worse.
Oh man, dude, the
I'm
West
sick
is
of
so
everybody
crazy,
bringing them.
though.
I'm sick of
I
everybody
think there's
bringing
a
Kings.
chance that the Suns are worse than them, but I think the Suns, all things considered, haven't had a terrible offseason for what it was looking like it was going to be before
They still
we
don't have
got
a
into
center,
this.
dude. I don't think they have a center still. Like a
I mean,
good.
they drafted Maluach and they traded for Robert Williams.
Williams
So
now.
Oh yeah, they do have Mark.
Mark
Right.
Williams. Mark Williams.
You can't put. I didn't really understand that at all because you can't play those guys together, like at
Bench.
all.
He's a bench piece. He's a good bench piece. I think that's a great developing skill that they'll have for him. Just play him off.
But as if they traded for Williams, and Williams is still considerably younger, so like I don't really see a starting path eventually for Mallock unless they.
Unless Williams just starts shitting the bed, then I mean
He might.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen him on a decent team yet because he's been rotting away in Charlotte this whole time. But back to the Blazers, I can't definitively say that they're better than the Warriors, for example, or the Grizzlies, like the teams that are probably going to be around their tier of like play-in 8 seed area from my vantage point.
this is cap. This is where David has them. I don't believe this. This is not correct.
I think they're going to be around the 11 or 12 seed. I think they got better, but the thing is most of the West also got better this offseason. Really, the only team that did it was the Warriors. Like the Warriors didn't do anything, and that's a fault on
Very
them.
Concerning, yeah.
But like a lot of those other teams,
Horford if he doesn't retire.
He's gonna retire, dude. He's out of here,
dude. No, that's not a needle mover anymore. As much as I despise Al Horford for still being a semi-competent player
for
at his
no reason either. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but as much crap as I give the Clippers for being a nursing home, I still think they made some good moves this offseason. The Lakers, I think, are still better than them. The Rockets made some good moves. The Mavericks obviously have Cooper Flag now. I think the Spurs are better than them. The T-Wolves are still better. Denver's still better. I just can't see a path. Maybe they get the 10 seed, but that's pretty much the highest I could see them being.
Right, which I think around there is fair.
What is this, man?
Suns do not have a competent. Well, they are kind of shooting guard university. That's. I don't disagree.
That's a fair point.
I don't. Devin Booker can be a point guard. He's not the greatest, but he can be a point guard.
And in fact, dribble the ball up the court. That is true.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. That's a fair diss. Okay, whatever. But listen, Devin Booker can play the one. Obviously, he's more of a two. I don't think he's a one at all. I think he's a way better two.
I hate Devin Booker.
Dude, I don't get, bro. Devin Booker is the best shooting guard in the league. I don't care what.
Devin Booker is that guy that, like, I saw a tweet about this the other day. It's like there's always that one NBA player that you just irrationally hate for no reason. Devin Booker is that guy for a lot of people.
I don't hate him for no reason. I just think, well, I can't. I don't want to say why I don't like him on the pod because it probably would get it demonetized. But like just that whole thing with Luka and that it's a Luka special thing, and he's just always the guy that like he only talks shit when he's up, and then he says something, then he like walks away. I hate guys like that. I hate guys like that.
Real quick for you, David. Where do you think the Blazers will end up and why? I'll give it to you real quick. I think the Blazers are going to get 11. I think the Pelicans. If Zion can stay healthy, I know you get at me. But bro, if Zion plays at least 55 games, they are a 10 seed, and that is the greatest they'll get because that team is very good head to toe right now. If they all stay healthy, I think that's
deep team.
I agree.
Very deep team. They drafted well. They did free agency well. They traded well. Oh my goodness, that team is so good.
I can't agree on the draft thing. I think that trade they made for Queen was the most reckless and stupid thing ever. Giving up an unprotected first. They gave up an unprotected first. They gave first
Queen though. That's a good pick.
I mean, Derek Queen is a steal at this spot.
That's a steal right there. Did they steal from you guys?
I'm not. I wanted Sorber more than Queen. I'm not completely sold on Derek Queen. I think offensively he's going to be really good, but he's kind of, I think defensively, he was a liability at Maryland. He was one of the weakest defensive centers in the Big Ten, and he's only 6'9". He's undersized for the position. I think he's a good player, but the Pelicans have a chance to be really like there's a scenario where they're really good. I agree with you, like you said, roster is really good on paper. It is, but we haven't like Murray's coming off the broken hand. Zion.
That's a good like we everyone forgets about Murray, bro. That's
I know, but
the thing about the team is health, and it's not just Zion. They were so injured last year. Trey Murphy was like their only scoring option for half the season.
That team is insane, bro.
Herb Jones missed a bunch of times. Missed a bunch of time. Zion missed a bunch of time. Murray missed a bunch of time. I do like their bench pieces a lot. I like Yves Missy. I'm a big fan of Jordan Hawkins too. I think Jordan Hawkins is tough as hell. But the thing is that I'll say why I thought that trade was bad. I do like Derek Queen a lot, but it's not a position. Like I said, he doesn't have a clear path to start. You can maybe put him at the 4, but I mean, if Zion is healthy, like you said, then he's going to be like no more than like the 7th or 8th man off the bench. To give up an unprotected first. That pick next year could very well be a top 5 pick. So if you value Derek Queen that much, I guess, but I thought that was kind of a reckless trade for a position that isn't even going to be like a day 1 starter. But
it might be if Zion's hurt though. That's the thing.
That's
too.
True. That's true.
That's why they got it.
I just don't know. I trust me. I'm a Big Ten like nerd. I watched a lot of Maryland last year. I do not know if Derek Queen is quick enough defensively to be able to hang with NBA 4s. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but he's
strong enough though. That's all that matters.
He's strong enough, but you got to be able to move your feet in the NBA, especially if you're at the 4. And we'll have to see about that. But you're talking about the Blazers. Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, Derek Queen just had surgery. He had surgery on his wrist. So
the season starts in October. They have time to rest him. They don't have to play him right away, but